Hello
All right,
again.
new line.
Yes. Little technical difficulties. We had a couple of hackers come in. We got bombed. It happens
Right.
to the best of us. The moment he started talking about some serious stuff, people were like, ugh. So this is good. This is good. So we're back with Pascal again, continuing to talk about his film. This is going to be our continuance of the conversation that we were talking about. Again, Pascal, just in case if somebody doesn't see the first part, can you just reintroduce yourself real quick? Tell me a little bit about yourself and a little synopsis of your film, so people could just know that this is the same.
I'm the same guy.
Right.
Not a hacker with a. So, I'm Pascal Giacomini. I'm a transmedia artist, which means that I'm a metal sculptor, photographer, filmmaker. I used to do furniture design. These days, I make musical instruments. And as for this film, I have another hat, which is I'm, so to speak, married into a Haitian family for more than 30 years. And with my wife, Karen Fabius, who's a writer, we own Galerie Lacaille in Los Angeles. And we have been in the business of promoting Haitian arts and culture for the past 30 years. And so in 2011, I was invited by the organizer of the second Ghetto Biennale of Port-au-Prince, which is an art collective composed of Vodou artists. The idea being going there, spend a month, and create art with whatever we could find on the ground. And I ended up being the only one in the ghetto, which stands for slum in Creole, working with metal. Most of the artists were either doing video or photography or some other projects, which I could not always take a close look to because I was busy working. In the process, I decided to document the experience. And soon enough, because I documented the experience, and then I'm starting to interview the other artists and artisans and the people in the community. And it took a life of its own. And I ended up going back for 7-8 years every year to shoot more because I was an incompetent filmmaker to start with. So it took, although with my Frenchy arrogance, I'm going, I could shoot photos, I could do a movie. Well, that didn't happen, as I said. And to the process, and so what happened is the more I'm going to grab missing pieces in interviews or in footage, I'm encountering more people and more artists, and I'm doing more interviews and more protagonists in the Port-au-Prince scene or in Miami, and every time it kind of brought other elements to the story, which I didn't have until finally what came out of it is a movie about Haiti's art and culture, which I think are fantastic in a country that really has major problem, being the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. So that's not a ranking you want to achieve. But what redeems Haiti, in my eyes, is the people, of course, and the arts, because only Haiti, I've been traveling the world over, not these days, mind you, unfortunately. And so I'm really accustomed to evolve. I spent a lot of time in South America, in the Amazon, to Nepal and Tibet and India, whatever you name it. And you go to these places where there's very strong culture and lots and lots and lots of arts and craft being produced in the midst of the poor population, because they need to survive, so they do stuff, they create stuff with what they got. But only in Haiti, at the end of the day, you got so many artists working this way. In other places, they do craft. That could be fantastic craft, don't get me wrong. I mean, Indian craft is phenomenal. But only in Haiti, you go to a slum and you find poets and painters and sculptors that are actually, frankly, originals and have really a high level of artistic expression. And what came to me at the end is that people could judge Haiti whichever way they like. But what I'm saying is that if I see artists functioning at the same level as I do, who are able to inspire me and stimulate me, they are on the level, we are on the same level. That's what it means. There's no difference between me, my fellow artists in France or in the US or in Los Angeles, and these guys. They speak to humanities. If one considered that the highest level of human culture is the humanities, what we can talk about, how could we express ourselves, the ideas we want to put out there, then the elites, could it be here or in Africa or wherever other places, dismiss the poor people because, they're not on the level. They're not going to go teach into university. They are rough and raw and this and that. Well, it may be true in Haiti, but this roughness and rawness is translated into a fantastic art at the end of the day. And that was a powerful motivation for me to show that. And the good part about it is that my movie being about art, I only show the best. I'm not there to show the crap that's going on in Haiti, which I know very well. The corruption and this and that, and oh, this guy, look at him, he's a hypocrite or whatever. Not my fight. But when you go about making a movie, say about exposing corruption, then obviously you're gonna show a lot of negative stuff. That's the way it works. My movie is about the arts, the artists, the creative drive in Haiti, no matter what. So I could only choose, it was my mission was to, not to choose, but to just get the best of it. So the most interesting thing all the artists will say, the most interesting art, at least to me, and at the end, the way we created the art is it's not necessarily linear. It's not necessarily what people expect from Haiti, the naive and primitive, quotes in quotes, but the stuff that appeals to us. And in the process, I'm showing really phenomenal art and artists, and I'm giving voice. And I've been told many things about this movie, interesting, but I've been told I was giving voice to the voiceless. That you go into a Haitian art gallery, or you're in a market in Florida, or you're somewhere in the Caribbean, or you hear about Haitian art, you don't see the people behind it. Just some nice canvases, some art, but who's behind them? And normally, one of the problems in the art market is that you talk about Haitian art. What about the people? You don't talk about American art. You talk about Rauschenberg or Warhol, or you just mention names. That artists who are doing this and that, who have a body of work. In Haiti, it's always been a big lump. Haitian art exposition, Haitian art show. Who's in there? Well, I'm showing who's in there, how they think, and more importantly, all these guys, often enough, no matter what I would ask, they would say exactly what they wanted to say. They all had the message to communicate, and that's what they did. So they really, I would ask a question about this and the answer completely different, but hey, that's what you want to say. Yeah. Go for it.
It was beautiful to watch how you allowed the individuality behind the art, and that's what you did with your film. Like you said, when you think of Haitian art, people tend to put a big picture of it. But when I was watching your film, to see, religion was one of the main things for one artist, or whether if it's the climate of the country. And it reminded me of why people are so fascinated with Basquiat as well too. Like it made me understand art in a totally different way. So I thank you for really bringing the individual instead of the mass. And you did a beautiful job, not only exposing their art, but you also exposed your art as well too. And it was such a beautiful thing. And my question to you is, as far as the culture, when you first went out there, what was the major culture thing that kind of impacted you? What was the first cultural shock that made you change or shift your mindset into your approach of your art?
Well, first of all, I went to Haiti 10 years before meeting my wife in 1981. I spent 2 months crisscrossing the country. That was a different time under Jean-Claude. Mm-hmm. What really the change I got from the experience was I wanted to be. I know a lot of people there. Obviously, all the people that I interview, I know them for the longest time. Some are very good friends, so I was very familiar with the entire situation, which allowed me to pretty much make myself invited to the Biennale, then have people I knew on the ground organize a space for me to work. I got an assistant, and I was very, very well taken care of. But the one of the reasons I wanted to go is I was in a dry period in my arts, because at some point in time, you just, I'm a sculptor, and then at some point in time you go, okay, why am I going down the shop to do one more? And I had no little stimulation, and not a major interest to keep working. I was working, but not so interested. And I knew that putting myself in such a challenging situation was one way to force me to work. There's no doubt. I get there, I got nothing. So just all I had is some money to buy the refuse. You buy everything in Haiti. Everything will be recycled and upcycled, and that was that. And as you see in the movie, I end up with a pile of crap, literally, and I'm looking at it going, all right, and what's next now? That process was highly positive, because it challenged myself constantly to come up with something that would be a good piece of art and completely different than from the local artist, although we're using the same material. But after that, it engaged me. Since then, I've been only doing upcycling art. I used to create art. I'm a fabricator. I could, without bragging, you want a 20-foot table? I'll make that. You want a candelabra? You want a fireplace? I could make all these things, where I buy the raw materials, and then you buy the planks and you make a table. There, it's creating art with whatever I find. So whatever you find is, you don't know what you're going to find. And then the found object, beauty of it, they all come with a story. For instance, the first piece I did after coming back from Haiti was a sculpture of Marie Antoinette, the Queen, because being a history buff, I started to dive into the Haitian Revolution and how mixed up is it with the French Revolution, and how both ended up with very different results. And one of the things with the French in Haiti at the time was the French were very excessive in the treatment of the local population. And you had the absentee owners of the plantation living in Paris, superb lives, and the rest and then the small Blancs, the small French living there, and then 400,000 slaves laboring for that. And well, it did not end up well. But the downfall of the French in Haiti was the same downfall as the king and queen going down for their excesses, especially her. She's been vilified for that. So somehow this mix made me go, okay, I'll deal Marie Antoinette, the queen, springing off from the gutter of a Haitian slum. And so her dress, instead of diamonds, has Coke cans and Budweiser cans and whatever I could find. And going into that route, like many other artists before, because found objects, I'm not the one, I mean, it's been done and it keeps being done. The beauty of it is that when you use a can of Coke that's been crushed, that object has a lot of meaning on its own. As you see Coke up, then brings all sorts of images. Then you go a cheap Coke aluminum crush can, a make-believe or a diamond on a dress. So every object now could be subverted. That's the beauty of it. Diverted, subverted, upcycled, and then I could really be subversive with everything I'm doing. And at the end of the day, I'll say this: if you invite me for dinner at your place, watch out the silverware before I leave, because I'll go.
You're the one that keeps stealing people's forks.
Look at that. Then I'll go, oh, here's a pair of glasses. There you go. And in conclusion, I've worked over the past 10 years. I've been in full blast. What it really was, the main thing, a potent, ultra potent stimulator to keep expressing myself, because I found out that I had no good reason. If I'm an artist, you express yourself. And when you see the way they do it out there in the slum, then I have no excuse not to get out there and create art. So that's the deal. This being said, there's plenty of Haitian artists who are not poor that we see in the movie, Edouard Duval, or Pascal Monin, or this and that. Nevertheless, there is something in this country that pushes the creativity button for all the would-be artists to then become artists. So not to mention, of course, when in Haiti, good times, drinking a lot of rum, laughing with friends and family, and going to the countryside, and the place is so intense. Well, these days, unfortunately, you can't go anymore, but it's everything there. It's like New York. People tell you, oh, New York, we like the energy. Well, go to Port-au-Prince and you're going to see it on energy.
And any last words you'd like to say to like emerging filmmakers who are dealing with maybe a difficult subject matter like you've been able to deal with, and just showing art, like what kept you going?
Hold on one second, you guys. 1 second, please. I'm very sorry about that. Karine, the dishwasher is here. The phone is here.
All right, so
I'm here. I'm back. I'm very sorry. This guy at the door. So, what can I say to a filmmaker? Well, persistence is the name of the game. And after persistence, if you believe that the story you want to say to start with is what you're going to end up with, well, that's not going to work this way, basically. So start telling your story. And as you interview that person or shoot that situation, encounter a new landscape or people telling you things you did not think about, just incorporate them as you go, and you'll figure out that your story will start to make sense at some point in time based on all the materials you're shooting, which means that you have to shoot a lot, spend a lot of money, and at the end, you have to find one story. It's very easy to do movie making and tell one story here, another story on the side, and another one, until your audience is going, okay, what is he talking about at the end of the day? So that's persistence. If you don't have the money, you do everything by yourself. And at the end, make sure you have one good story and everything you do is useful to that story.
And thank you so much, Pascal. You know, just your dedication as an artist and the Haitian community and art community. We really appreciate that. And, you know, anything you want to say, Bechir?
No, definitely. So Out of Chaos, people, anybody's going to watch this, Out of Chaos, that's the movie that you need to go check out to see his beautiful art. Tout haïtien, si nous voulons faire film ça, Out of Chaos, les montrer bel film de bon paquet d'artistes qui là-bas, tellement belle, mais monsieur font bel sujet là et vraiment prendre le temps nous, garder film là, supporter film là. Et aussi pour tous les gens qui parlent français aussi, merci beaucoup pour voir ce film là. Le nom, c'est Out of Chaos. Et s'il vous plaît, allez sur le website et regardez ça. Et voilà. Et merci beaucoup à Pascal pour tout ce que vous avez fait. Allez-y.
One thing to say, which is a new development, is that we're doing a study guide. So what to do now, the other thing is to filmmakers, once you finish the movie, well, what do you do with it? Obviously. So as I did, you run the festivals. I was lucky enough, I was selected 8 or 9 times. But after that, once I do this movie showing how great Haitian culture is, how do you use it to good effect? So what we figured out with my wife, Corinne, is that we want the movie is now the basis of a study guide for academic studies, where it'll be shown in universities and colleges, not necessarily, that's the point, not necessarily to teach about Haiti, but use the movie to teach about diversity, to teach about creative drive, to teach about the politics of the place, to teach about recycling, to instillate. So the movie is very useful to instillate pride into the Black population, because everything is about, Black matter at the moment, Black Lives Matter. But it was striking me recently that it's all about trying to redress a wrong. There's a part of the population that is at the bottom, and now that's to be brought up. But in Haiti, I'm showing that part, they're already up. Here's the achievement. Here's the culture. Here's what those guys are actually doing, and that will give respect. It will give pride to a Black audience, especially the young one, that even in a slum, they could do that. For in colleges with white kids or whichever other minority, it'll teach them respect on what these people can do. They'll learn about diversity, seeing the mix happening in Haiti, seeing a French guy who's going there and moving around. Obviously, I don't care. Me, I see 2 colors, nice and asshole. I mean, I see all the colors of the people. But basically, you're nice or an asshole. After that, the color of your skin truly is secondary. So all those elements, and then it could be taught in art school about artistic drive, recycling, upcycling, influence, another chapter, influence of a religion into the arts. Another one, Haitian history, revolutionary past, so on and so forth. So the point is to make the movie the basis for a curriculum that will be taught. We're trying to get to 1,000 colleges and universities taught for that. So it's Haiti as a steady object, but not about Haiti, about human values and everything I mentioned. So basically transcending the subject matter, going way over Haiti and using it to teach about humanity and give people know very little about Haiti. If this movie is used as a basis for an academic courses, a lot of kids will sit. And then what happened is that they're now familiar with what's going on there. So when they hear about Haiti, they go, oh, I've seen that movie, or I went to that course and what's going on there. So it's basically communication but using it as a cursus, if we manage to do that, would be a fantastic opportunity to get the movie to be really useful at the end.
So Pascal, let us know the website, because I know you're doing educational distribution now. So what is the website where people can actually see, they can, they can see the film?
Well, right now you can't see the film because I'm still in the running for festivals, including yours, and I got selected to a Doc Without Borders. I'm waiting to know if I win something or not. It'll be found either on my site. There is a site outofchaosthemovie.com, my site pascalgiacomini.com. We're waiting now to have the study guide. Study guide is basically there's a movie that's cut in 10 or 15 small pieces, everyone being a subject matter. As I said, diversity, art, this, religion, etc. Once we have this study guide, then professional teachers will be able to download it to teach a class with it.
Okay.
Hey, Pascal, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Brought me back 45 years to when I was living in Haiti. Absolutely loved it. Congratulations. It's a great work of art.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you for watching, Alan. Thank you for being effective.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
So we're going to continue this to everybody that's out here. Please tune into the next films. Again, we thank Pascal, Out of Chaos. Please check it out. And, to all my Haitian people out there that, don't speak English, m'a dit non bagay bien simple. La dernière chose qu'il a dit, c'était vraiment, vraiment, vraiment important. Ça veut dire que lors fait film nan, mettez-le dans côté pour qu'à éduquer moun. Parce que sous fait film nan, oui, il a éduqué pour Haïti, mais en même temps, mettez-le pour éducation pour or. Laisse ça, n'a bien diversité. Vous comprenez? So, ça, monsieur fait avec film nan, lors font film avec qu'on fait ou même, pas seulement mettez-le seulement pour parler de Haïti, mais pour en même temps, pour montrer l'humanité d'Haïti qui vit là-bas. Okay? Anyway, I just had to say what you said, Pascal, to my folks, because that was beautiful. Using your movie not to only teach Haiti, but to use to help diversity and also teach, more of the culture in that way, more than just the country. So that was very important for them to know. But again, thank you, Jacques. Any last words?
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity. Very much appreciated. Good work. You're pretty persistent as well. That's what we need to do.
That's it's the Haitian way. The Haitian in the French way. We're gonna do it one way. We're gonna find a way to make it happen, right? So, yeah. So we have our next film right now. Jaimin's film actually, and so it's In Search of Voodoo and The Roots to Heaven. It's a totally different perspective and showing the humanity and just like of African, religion in a sense. And a lot of Haitians definitely traditionally come from Benin, so I think it's that's the next movie we're watching. So we'll see you guys after that for another Q&A. Love. Thanks, Bechir. See you guys.
Thank you guys. Nice talking to you.
Thank you.